What up, dudes? All right, boys and girls and everybody out here. What's up, guys? Let me know. First off, let me know if you guys can hear me. I got the headphones in, trying to make sure that sounds pretty awesome. And then next, we are almost at 10,000 followers. I mean, we're almost at 8,000. Oh, there we go. Hey, shh. We're almost at 8,000. Oh, hey, okay. So, okay, cool, loud and clear. So we're almost at 8,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube. So I'm trying to get to 10K by the end of the month. And then we're at 28,000 on Instagram. So I'm trying to hit 30 by the end of the month. So if you guys are digging the content, I would love for you guys to do me a favor and just share it with a friend, somebody that could benefit from any of these videos. But I know a lot of you guys are already doing that. So I already appreciate that. And then if you guys have any questions and you want to cut the line, just drop a super chat and I'll be able to get to those things first. And then next, I want to make sure. All right, there we go. And then next, if you guys got any questions, send them in the chat box. So I have my phone here, and then I'm going to be looking just over here, looking over there to be able to answer some of your guys' questions. So as you guys get questions, make sure you pop them in. All right, so, and then I know that there should be quite a few people coming in, so we're going to let people roll on in. I just posted on Instagram, and hopefully you guys are getting a notification on YouTube. So, oh yeah, see, well, there we go, with the squad's coming in. All right, so first, I wanted to say what up to Mountain Life CO. What up, Tommy? What up, dog? We got Stefan. Yo, Tommy, loud and clear. Sick. Super hyped on that. And then we got George is asking for tips for front three. So I haven't made a YouTube video for front threes yet, but that's something that I want to do. That's definitely something that I absolutely need to make. So when it comes to front threes, the first thing that I'm going to say is there's like three big things that I want you to focus on. The first one is simply winding up your shoulders. You want to wind up your shoulders. More specifically, you want to rotate at your spine. So if I'm going into the jump and I just move my shoulders, that doesn't really help at all. But if I actually rotate my spine and get my shoulders to rotate, then I'm going to be able to really throw it. It's kind of like a baseball bat. I got to be able to swing back and throw it, and I'm not just trying to do this. So that's number one. Number two for front three is being able to, so a lot of you guys are hopping in. I'm answering a couple quick tips on frontside 360s, and then I'm going to be able to answer and say what up to all the dudes that just popped in. All right, so the first one was wind up your shoulder. The second one is as you throw it, your eyes need to rotate and look. You need to look in the direction you're traveling so that you can complete the 360 essentially with your eyes almost first. If you lead with your eyes, the rest of your body naturally wants to follow. And then after that, you want to land on your toe side edge. So that's kind of a bit of a skill. So toe side edge, what I would practice is doing cab ones to toes so that you can get used to landing on your toes. And when you land on your toes, it's going to help you from like continuing to rotate. All right, that's three of those. So we got a whole bunch of people popping in already, man. This is sick. We got Stefan with the $10 already, dude. This is sick. Okay, so Stefan says, I saw in Jonathan's J-turn video that the J-turn looks like a skidded stop. Is this a proper J-turn? I thought it was supposed to end in a hook or a J shape. Sorry, Buckhouse. Yeah, so essentially, like, if we think about what a J is, I'm going to try to use my hands. This is like an L. So essentially a J, you start like this and your board is sideways, and then you're going to point your board down the fall line and then you just come to a stop. So honestly, like it's just making a J. So I'm trying to think, is that a proper J turn? Well, honestly, like I wouldn't really get into the super gnarly semantics about that. Like my whole point would be to get like you're essentially trying to go straight down the fall line and then you're trying to get your board across. Yeah, you can definitely go into a J turn, like can completely finish that thing up here. And then if you finish that up here, if you are doing more of a C turn, let's say C turn, but that happens to be here and you're making more of a shape here and then you're able to go up the fall line. As you go up the fall line, you're going to reduce speed. But if you're doing, you don't always have to go up the fall line because this movement right here and the skiddedness of it is going to slow you down. So I don't know. I guess it's semantics. I would say I do a how-to video, and I use J-turn in the same terminology that he was doing it in, just because it's a simple, easy way to understand that you go down and then you go to a side slip. So I don't know, but I appreciate the $10 dono for sure. And then we got Melissa. What's up? Melissa's in the house. And then I saw you said something, but let me answer a couple other questions. So we got Melissa in the house. We got Scott Knight, what's up, dude? I met that dude the other day. He's working on some 360s on jumps. It's freaking sick. And then V, hello, what up? Nitro M4K says, what's up? And then Brandon says, Tommy absolutely rips. Dude, I appreciate that. Melissa says, hey, Tommy, hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about life. Things are good for sure. Hope you're doing awesome. George says, yo. And then we got, what up, guys? We got R Star in here. Got Julio. Julio is from NY, dude. It's crazy how like YouTube brings people from like all over the world. Like it's absolutely insane. I got Jason, what up, dog? So yeah. So a bunch of you guys just popped in here. If you guys got any questions about snowboarding, make sure you're popping them in so that I can be able to answer any of those questions. And then Melissa says, did my first backside board slide on a box today. No way. That's so sick. Melissa, where'd you do that at? I'm not sure. I don't know. Have you been riding Keystone, Brett, Copper? Not quite sure. I went to Copper today. It was pretty sick, but that's so exciting. Backside board slides are so fun, and they're really like such a gateway to like a lot of things. You know, a lot of different tricks are gonna being able to be in a rotated position and then bring it back is like such a big skill. So that's huge achievement. I'm super hyped for you. That's so sick. And then Dylan says, I struggle with backboards. I feel like it's always an unpredictable trick for me. I somehow land in the middle of the board and usually fall off, but I'll get it sometimes. So, Dylan, that's definitely, yeah, board slides can be super hard. Yeah, board slides can be super hard, super finicky. And what I would say is make sure that your belly button is like directly on top of the rail. So if this is the rail and here's your belly button and your belly button is like way out here, then you're naturally just going to fall off this way. If your belly button's over there, you're naturally going to fall off that way. So if you're like dead locked on with your belly button over the rail, then you have a better chance of riding through the whole thing. But let's say that you're not in the dead center of your board, but you want to get on your lead foot. Well, as long as your belly button's still stacked over the rail and your lead foot is now on the rail, then you're going to be in a better body position. If it's your tail, but the rail's here, your board's here, and your feet are here, but everything's all lined up and stacked, that belly button thing is going to be very useful. And then making sure that if my board is sideways, my lead shoulder is pointed at the end of the rail so that I can, as I exit the rail, essentially my shoulders are going this way and I jump, my lower body is going to match. But what ends up happening a lot of the times is if my shoulders rotate this way, my board's this way, and then I just come off this way. So I want to make sure my shoulders are pointed down the fall line and then that my board is going to match that as I come out. So hopefully that helps. I do have a YouTube tutorial. It's a bit ago, but I'm not sure if you've scoped that out, Dylan, but I hope you do. And then Tyler says, Tommy the GOAT. Dude, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And then we got Scott Knight in here with the $5 dono, dude. What is that? Oh, he drops the mic. That thing, dude. YouTube is so funny. Like, who comes up with that? Like, it's so creative and so random. It's so sick. Is that a peach? What is that? It's not a peach. Is that a pear? I don't know what that is. But dude, $5 dono. I appreciate it, man. That's so sick. And then I want to scoot back up here a little bit. Let's see. Nitro says tips for being able to bring your board back easier on shifties. So essentially what a shifty is imagine you're doing an air and you're doing a board slide without the rail. That's essentially what a shifty is, and it could be a frontside shifty, a backside shifty. But the thing that I would definitely suggest is being able to keep your lead shoulder pointed straight down the fall line and then letting your lower body spin and then come back. So your lower body will be able to do the trick, and then you want to bring your heels or your feet back underneath you and then ride away. So I would definitely say like being able to keep your lead shoulder down the fall line will definitely help. Okay, so then we got Kevin in here. Says, hi, Tommy. What up, dog? So he says, what is the stance you recommend for carving and doing tricks in the park? So I recommend having a stance that allows you to have your knees track over your toes. And that's kind of talking about width, like how wide it is. If you're too wide, then you're going to not have a lot of range of motion when it comes to like absorbing terrain or even popping. If you're too narrow, then you don't have a strong base, which means the balance is going to be a little bit more challenging. So I like to be shoulder width wide. So I'm 5'5" and I am at a 21-inch wide stance. So 5'5", 21-inch wide stance. So that's like where I like to be, so that my knees are like not moving out this way or this way. My knees track over my toes. And then as far as like the angles and stuff, I personally have a positive 15, negative 15. I like to be symmetrical so that when I'm going this way or that way, that it feels as similar as possible, as symmetrical as possible. I would recommend trying positive 12 on the front, negative 12 on the back to get that duck foot. And then you may want to go a little bit more duck. When I was younger, like a certain degree would actually hurt my knee. And if I moved it by 3 degrees, then my knees would actually not hurt. So fine tune that and figure out what's comfortable for you. But I do recommend going symmetrical. And then that also helps you when you're riding rails. It feels the same. When you're carving, I like being able to get on my heel side edge, lift up my toes or my toe side edge. I definitely still can carve with like a freestyle-esque stance. Hope that answers the question, my dude. Okay, Scott says, yes, thank you. Thanks for all the tips, dude. Yeah, man, I'm stoked to help you out. That 3 was sick. I'm glad I got to hit you back up on that today. Kyle says, yo, Tommy, ever use insoles with your boots? Okay, good question. How do you deal with foot pain while riding? So I've answered this question a couple times, and it seems like it's actually a pretty common thing that people struggle with, which is such a bummer. So like I have a couple thoughts for you. If you have arches, if you have big or aggressive arches and you're putting your toe cap or toe strap on here, essentially you're just flattening out your arches, and that's going to really hurt. The other thing is essentially you want to be able to put your toe strap in front so it pushes your toes towards the high back so that you're like locked in there and you're not just here. And then so that's like my number one thing. And then if you have arches, I would check out some insoles so that you get support right there. I used to use them and they were like $100, and they were like some custom ones. I got like a deal on them. So they were like, after a discount, they were $100 still. They were super awesome. And then I just don't get a lot of foot pain. I don't know why. I'm super fortunate like that. I don't have a lot of foot pain. So I ended up just using the stock footbeds that just come in the boots, and I rock those all season. But make sure your toe strap's there. If you need to do custom insoles, I forget. There is a brand. I think Casey Willax rides for like Shred Soles, I believe they are. I could be wrong on the Casey Willax thing, but I think it's Shred Soles. I would check those out and see what their return policy is, see what their process is, see what their guarantee is, and just try them out. See what it is. So hopefully that answers. R Star says, "How's everybody? How's everyone's days going, dude? I'm awesome, man. I got snowboard today. It was sick." And then we got okay, hold on. Okay, so we got a Yamavia. Please help me if I'm butchering your name. I'm super sorry. But with a $10 donation, that's absolutely crazy. Any tips for riding with a backpack? I carry water, snacks, and my camera gear in there, but I always feel like it changes my riding. Also, any tips on riding the lift with it? Okay, cool. That's a great question. So definitely so yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted a little bit. So with that, what I would make sure you do is when you have a backpack on, you want to tighten your straps down here and then like the upper strap and bottom strap. If you can get your backpack as tight and close to you as possible, essentially your backpack is going to form to your body. And then what is most challenging with the backpack is when the backpack is moving and doing all this. So if I go up in the air, then the backpack slowly gets there. As I land, and then later delayed, the backpack lands, and I'm like, no, this is not awesome. So make sure that's like unified with your body so that you have the board, or sorry, you have your body and then the backpack's like glued onto you. That's going to be number one. And then just tighten all those straps down. As far as getting on and off the lift, I 100% recommend unstrapping all that. I know it's a lot because I just told you to tighten it down. So unstrap that and then swing it around up towards your chest of your body so that when you reach back for the chairlift, that it's not in the way. And then I like to have it on my lap as I do things and make sure your buckles and stuff are not just flopping around, because if you get off the chairlift, those can get hooked on things. So then with that said, I would make sure everything's all together and then you roll out. And so those are kind of my two big tips on riding with all that stuff. I personally don't like riding with a backpack because it does change where your center of mass is. It may make you a little bit further back, and it's just really challenging for me. So I end up just not doing much of that. Okay. So then also we got a special guest in here, which I'm really excited to. Okay, so we got here Ryan Napton is in the house, dude. What's up, dog? If you guys haven't watched Ryan, I bet all of you have. But if you haven't, make sure you check out his YouTube channel. He is literally the god of carving. Like, he's such an inspiration. It's so sick. I did like a little toe side carve to like a butter 360 to a toe side carve, and he put me in the video, and I was like actually super hyped on that. So if any of you guys are looking for carving specific stuff, he has a crap ton, like a huge library of all that stuff. So big shout out to Ryan Napton, dude. That guy is legit. And obviously you're legit because you're listening to this, but also he's legit. Let's see. He says, listening while editing a video. Ooh, that means new material coming soon. Tommy B, killing the riding, coaching, YouTube, vid, Instagram, live stream, and more. Question. How do you find 80 hours in each day? Oh my God. Come on. Yeah, so honestly, like, uh, yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge this year because I had an assistant coach that was helping me coach, and then unfortunately, we love him to death. He ended up getting an injury, and he's out for the remainder of the season. So I do have essentially like kind of like 4 full-time jobs right now. It's pretty overwhelming, but essentially, I got to stay up late and wake up early. Like, if I got to do that, I got to do that, like, for sure. And then the other thing is just being able to, like, if I've committed to something, then I just want to do it, you know? So I've said I'm going to do drop videos every Friday on the grind. And then on Tuesdays, I'll do live streams. Last couple weeks, I will be, admit it, it's been a little bumpy in a bit, but still trying to get out there. But it's been fun. So I really enjoy just being able to do all that stuff for sure. But I appreciate that, Ryan, dude. You're the man. We definitely got to go snowboard soon. I saw you at Copper the other day. It sounded like you were making a sick video with a couple of my friends. So I'm super hyped that you were out there doing that stuff for sure. And then, okay, we got Ebby. What up, dude? That's sick. I just saw an Instagram post of yours that you have been going to the gym, super ham, and then I hope you're not sick anymore because that sucks. Being sick is not sick. I appreciate that, dude. $5 dono, that's so insane. You guys are all awesome. You guys are incredible. So then I'm gonna scroll back up. Scrolling back up, trying to find a couple other ones. Couple more questions. Okay, cool. Abby says, not sick anymore. Thank Jesus. Haha. Yeah, being sick is not sick, but I think you said you didn't snowboard this weekend because you went to like a powerlifting comp or something. I don't remember. But yeah, hopefully you're going to go snowboard soon. That would be definitely sick. Tahoe. Anybody in Tahoe, hit her up about riding with friends. Ride, friends ride. Go ride. It'd be sick. All right, so I'm going to scroll back up a little bit and answer some of the questions that I may have skipped. If I have skipped your question, my bad. Make sure you pop it down below, and then I'm going to try to get through as many of these questions as possible. Not sure how long we're going to hang out here. As long as the questions are coming in, we're probably going to stay for a while, but no promises on that. Okay, so I'm scooting back up. Okay, getting there. Okay, so here it says Adam 1234567 Hey Tommy, how well do tricks on carpet translate to snow, like tricks on snow? That's actually a really good point. So I would say that they mostly feel like they would translate at probably a 70% translation rate. I don't know like what that would be called, but essentially what is amazing about it is the general feel of the tricks are going to be like, you can work on so many things. Like, how do you wind up for the trick? Where are you looking when you do the trick? How do you land when you do the trick? And then let's just say it's like a tail press. Tail presses are, you have a lot of resistance from the carpet, so you can, like, it's really easy to do tail press. That how much your board will lift up won't translate, but the body positions of how to get there, how to balance, what you should be doing with your eyes, all of those things translate. So I would say, yeah, like absolutely. The more time you can spend doing that, the better. And then we got Kaz out here says, hey guys from Jindabyne, Australia. Any of you Aussies out there, hope you guys are doing okay. I know there's been some gnarly fires. I got a couple Australian athletes who've been keeping me up to date on all of that, and it sounded like that things were pretty hectic in Jindabyne for a hot minute there. If anybody does not know where Jindabyne is, it is just outside of Perisher, and Vale Resorts on the Epic Pass owns that resort. So pretty dope, pretty dope. Okay, so if I miss any of your guys' questions, just make sure you pop them down below, but I'm kind of going back up and scooting back down. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we got Dylan says one more question, one more semantic question. What's the proper way to pop off jumps? I'm assuming it's pop. Is flat base and straight off the best approach, or slightly pointed 10 degrees? So essentially, the question is, as you're going off of a jump, should you be 100% flat base, or you should be slightly on edge? And I think that's going to be personal preference. There's a pro and there's a con to both of them. When you're flat base, sometimes when I'm going into jump, like I did this the other day, I was going into Brex jumps. There's a 35, 45, and a 55-foot jump. I noticed that on the 55-foot jump, I went off flat base. I didn't go on edge. And my thought process on that specific example was that the lips looked extremely icy. And I thought to myself that if I was on a slight edge, I'm not sure if my board, my edges are going to be able to hold on the ice. So I actually went flat base so that I didn't chance that. Now, when you go flat base, essentially, if this is, I'm going to try to do, there we go. Okay, if this is the jump and I'm going flat base, yes, I have more likelihood of being able to pivot while going off of the jump, which means that like it could be sketchy. But if you're in a proper stacked position, meaning that your shoulders, hips, and knees are all stacked and you're not creating unnecessary rotation or pivot off the lip, then flat base can be beneficial if this is super gnarly icy. Now, traditionally, a lot of people like to be on a 10-degree edge so that they have a little bit of a platform to push off of. If I'm flat base, I may, wobble, but if I'm on an edge, essentially I'm having more grip. Now, I do think it's going to be a specific situation type of thing. Both of them can be extremely beneficial. With the right situation. So I know I didn't give you a proper one versus the other, but I do think there is applications for each of those, and it depends on the snow surface. It depends on like what the jump looks like your body positions. There's so many things that get involved in that. So I hope I answered that question, Dylan. I love these questions. These are sick. They're definitely making me think. And what's sick is I'm fortunate enough to be able to snowboard so that I can have this memory of, yet 2 days ago I was in Breckenridge and this is what I did. So stoked to be able to give that like firsthand experience to you guys for sure. And we got freaking what's up, Dono Train. We got Leo C. Broke my back too about 20 years ago surfing. Interesting. Like I think of surfing, I think like, oh, that's probably soft. Obviously, it's not. I mean, obviously, there's like water tension and stuff. Okay, I love yoga. What do you do for pain relief? How long do you ride? How long a day do you ride? How many days off do you rest your body? So when I was 17, I ended up breaking my back snowboarding. It definitely changed my life forever. So essentially, I got away from competitive snowboarding and being sponsored and pushing my career. I got into more of the coaching and educational stuff because I just wanted to be involved in snowboarding. And that was a way I could start to make money, is like kind of use my knowledge. Now, kind of a little backstory, but when it comes to my current time, I would say foam rolling is huge, but foam rolling your quads and your back. So essentially for me, when my quads are super tight, I don't know, this isn't a quad, I know. So when my quads are super tight, they essentially will pull on my hips. And then when my hips rotate forward, it hurts my back. So if I can stretch out my quads, that's a big deal. I'll stretch my hamstrings or foam roller those. I've also used cupping, where you essentially get suction cups and they pull up the skin. I've done that on my quads, my back as well. And you can get a set on Amazon for like, I don't know, 10, $20, and you have a cupping set. And people pay lots of money for it, but you can do it yourself. Pretty dope. In addition to that, I probably take off half a day to a day, probably 1 day a week right now. I'm riding 6 days a week. I only take off Saturdays. Sometimes I'll go ride on Saturdays for 2 hours, but probably only 1 day off a week. And I've also like conditioned my body to snowboard 200 days a year. Like my body's been doing that for the last 15 years. Yeah, maybe more than that, probably 17 years. I've been like 15, 17 years. I've been at that. So my body's gotten like really used to it. So hopefully that answers the question. I'm sorry you broke your back, dude. That sucks, man. Yeah, been there. Okay, Stefan with the $5 coming in. So Leo C, thank you, dude, for the $5 dono. And we got Stefan, advanced to intermediate setup. Needs something more aggressive but flexible for pressing too. Boots, binding, and board advice. Oh, all right. I'm gonna start with bindings. I love Burton cartels because they're like the seventh, eighth. I don't know exactly, but they've been in the game for a long time in terms of what like binding that they've made. They know what they're doing. I love the Burton cartels, and you can find a replacement part anywhere in the U.S., pretty much anywhere, and international, which is super sick. And then when it comes to boots, I like Burton boots. I like boas. People hate on boas, but I love boas. And I think why I love boas is that I don't crank them 100%. I keep mine at like a 3%, no, a 30, no, 60% tightness. So 60% tight. So it starts to get tight, then I stop. So I apply a lot of pressure to the laces themselves. So they end up like not breaking. Like I've never broke an actual string, and I have tested for BOA for 4 seasons prior to this season. I tested them for 4 seasons, never broke a lace or a cable. And then I've had probably 8 pairs of bows in my life. But I have the advantage of I don't like my boots extremely tight, so I'm not putting a lot of pressure on them so they don't get broke off. And then board, I would say intermediate. If you're looking for an aggressive and a performance-based board, I would go with camber. There's definitely some really cool options out there. I ride 4 Tellus snowboards, and I ride a 149 Chillum. It is a camber snowboard. It's on the kind of the stiffer side. It's one of their more stiffer boards. And versus they have like a blunt that's super flexible, but I like the stiffer one, and it's very handy for jumps, riding pipe, carving, going fast. It feels very stable underneath your board, underneath your feet, and I love that. I love mobbing down the run and feeling in control. Like that's definitely my feeling for sure. So hope that helps. Those are my go-tos. Oh, as far as the Burton boas, I ride the Photon boots, and I go a half size up, not a half size down, because I hate foot pain. I snowboard too much to be in pain every single day. Hate it. It's not worth it to me. My personal preference. Hate them, hate them, hate them. And then we got Pablo. What's up, dog? I really like your videos and your Instagram, man. Is a 158 board too big for Glades? Well, it depends. Okay, so I appreciate the $5 dono. I am stoked that you're checking out the Instagram as well. Dude, the Instagram has been, I've posted every single day for 5 months. Never in that 5 months, I have not missed a day. And I'm like super hyped on that. But as far as the 158, it depends on the Glade, and it depends on how fast you can turn that snowboard. You have dudes out there that are riding like a 160, 162, but if they can get that board to get the performance to turn fast, then that's totally okay. Like as long as you're turning fast, and why it's important to turn fast, the more time you spend down the fall line, the faster you're gonna go. So if you can minimize that, especially in glades, especially in steep stuff or couloirs or anything like that, you want to be able to minimize the time down the fall line. So if you could turn the board, then no. But the question is, can you turn the board? And then we got Zachary says, appreciate everything you do, fam. Aw, yo, Zachary, I appreciate that, man. It's been a lot of fun. I've been super hyped just to put out content. I actually have filmed 4 videos this week. Just in case I'm unable to film one next week, I'm starting to backlog some of my videos and some of my stuff so that I know, like deep down inside, that I have content to put out, because that's like one of my biggest, like, not fears, but somewhat of a fear is like saying that I'm going to do this. And if I can't do that, oh, I'm going to go like, I'd be bummed for sure. And then we got a $10 dono. We got Charles Smith, tips for trip to Japan / Japan. Okay, so I've heard that Japan is popping off in January and February. I hear that's when it's the most amazing. So I would start booking your trip and figuring out that stuff as soon as possible. Now you can pay for, like, I believe there's High Cascade Japan, I believe there's something like that where you pay like $5,000 and then you still have to pay the added fee of your flight, but you can pay those dudes. They can host you. They do everything. They pick you up from the airport and you do that. But that's like a certain experience that you could have, but it's going to cost a lot of money. And then I know a lot of people that are just going there and just having the best time ever. So I would recommend that you bring a POW oriented board. So something like a fish or reverse camber type of board. And then I would book the trip as soon as possible. I would book the trip with people that know, like that can ride and that can keep up with you so that you guys are all together. The last thing you want to do is go to Japan and then be like waiting for somebody for 4 hours. Like that's just not the experience you want. If you guys want a lot more information on Japan, I know Casey Willax just got to Japan, and then Borkai, Snowboard Pro Camp, and David Jones, who's back on snow now. All those dudes are actually at Japan in Japan. So I'd go watch some of those videos. I've never been to Japan. It's on my checklist. I was supposed to go last year. Somebody, I'm not going to be naming names, but somebody like kind of held me back from going and it was not awesome. So it is what it is, right? But that's on the to-do list. So I'd go scope out those dudes for sure. And then actually Cash just hopped in. Everybody in Japan at the moment, YouTubers, Casey, Kevin, TJ, as well as the DWC crew. Yeah, dude, everybody's there. I want to be there. Maybe next year I'll plan a trip and just go for like, oh, I don't know, 10 days. I don't want to go for like 20 minutes, right? And then Buck, what up, dog? With a $2 dono coming in. I need help with rail jams and getting noticed more. Ooh, that's actually a good question. So, couple tactics that I've used in the past. So I used to do a bunch of rail jams for sure. With the rail jams, a good thing that you can do is wear bright colors. So if you're wearing like a bright pants or bright jacket or something that's going to stand out, essentially, if you're at the bottom and you're a spectator and you glance around, what's the first thing you notice? Like a reflective neon orange jacket or a bright jacket. Like if you feel confident and you can be and you want to be noticed, you want to be seen. It's like you want to do something like that, then wearing something neon bright like that would definitely be something that catches your eyes. Like I said, if you're a participant or somebody watching, spectator, and you're like looking, what's the first thing? Let that be you. That's the first thing you can do. The other thing is in rail jams specifically, you got to do crowd pleaser tricks. Now you got to learn some of the tricks that are crazy. And for example, Miles Fallon is really amazing at rail jams. He rides for a Capita. He's got like 15K on Instagram. He used to ride, like I coached him a little bit. I wasn't his full-time coach, but I coached him a little bit here and there. And essentially, he does like one-footed tricks. He'll go off a rail, off the biggest, tallest rail, do one-footer, and everyone's like, what? Like, it may be, for him, it was a simple trick, but it was a crowd-pleasing trick. Front flips and back flips off of rails. Obviously, that's dangerous, so make sure you like lock that stuff in. And I'm not saying you have to go do a backflip, but what are some tricks that get you noticed? If you're doing basic 50-50s, like everyone else, then you're like everyone else. It's hard to stand out. So those are definitely some ideas that I have for you. Is do those crowd pleasing videos. Go watch a rail jam. Go watch a rail jam on YouTube, or X Games has one, I believe, is coming up. Watch one, turn up the volume, and listen to how the crowd responds, and then do those kind of tricks that the crowd responds to. Because if the crowd's getting hyped, then other people are getting hyped. So I know we got a little nerdy in there. All right, T. So yeah, there's a lot of you guys in here. We got 60 of you guys. This is freaking incredible. So we have been skipping down towards the super chats. I am going to scoop back up a little bit. Again, if I've missed your questions, just pop them down below. It's not intentional. Just pop them in below. So we are going to go back up a little bit. Okay, Melissa, this was like a little bit ago. She did her first backside board slide and she did it at Monarch. That's actually super sick. I'm proud of you. That's a big deal. We need to go snowboard together. Melissa, we got to make that happen. Okay, and then we got Ryan C says, how should I land while hitting hip jumps? An edge, hold an edge, or more flat base? Okay, so I'm actually recorded a hip video. I'm going to post on Instagram soon. There's a couple thought processes on that. So if you have a hip that goes this way and then you're landing here, I personally like to land on an edge because most times hips are icy. And I'm not saying land on a crazy edge where you're leaning super far back, but I want to be on an edge where I have enough grip to ride away. And then I like to land with my edge, like my uphill edge. So if I'm going off of a hip front side, so that means I'm going this way and I'm turning left and I'm rotating front side direction, I would land on my heels on a slight edge so that I can ride away. If I go super flat base, I personally don't feel like I have a lot of control, but I'm landing on maybe an 8 to 10 degree while my belly button is stacked over my board. My belly button's not leaning so far back. Here's a good analogy. Here's a great analogy for you. Even if it's on rails or a hip, if my belly button is sitting on this chair, I'm not going anywhere. As soon as I start to lean back and my belly button essentially goes too far, I'm going to fall over. It's just going to happen. But there is a point where you can tip, 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 tip. I'm not falling over yet. I've leaned back for sure. But there will be a point where you go too far. So when on that hip, you want to make sure you're not going too far. You can lean back a little bit, but don't go too far. Okay. Santee says, what's your best advice for jumping into urban down rails? So when it comes to urban on down rails, we're going to use this case as an example. Essentially, you want to have your snowboard hit the side, a little bit of the side, and then roll on. Essentially, as you hit the side, you're actually redirecting your momentum. So if I come into the feature at 30 degrees and I just land on top, well, I'm going to continue that for the most part, a 30-degree trajectory. Now, if I go 30 degrees, hit the side of this rail, redirect my momentum, and ride down, then you have a better chance of making it through the end. So I would make sure you're redirecting your momentum, keeping your eyes and your shoulder pointed at the end of the rail. Definitely helps a lot. George says, any tips on getting comfortable on a new board aside from putting laps on it? I would suggest detuning the contact points. So if we had a snowboard that kind of looked like this, I essentially would detune the toe side and heel side edge of the nose and the tail. So wherever that board touches the snow, I would detune that towards the tip of the board. And so essentially you take a file and you just round that off. A lot of times what can happen is if you don't do that and you start doing a carve, the board wants to keep carving and then your board will go this way as your body wants to go this way. So you kind of contradict the movement. Your board wants to go here, you want to go there. So if you detune that edge, you're more likely to be able to hold a carve, and then you can determine when you want to like ease off. So that's definitely what I would do. Big what up to Ryan Napton again, dude. What up, man? I'm hyped. I can't wait to see this video, dude. I put on Ryan's account, I have that post notification, like the little bell icon, and then so like it's sick because I'll get a notification when he posts, and I'm like, ooh, what's he got this time? It's by Corn. Any tips on how to film? I have a GoPro, but I'm wondering if I should use a selfie stick or a helmet mount. I personally think that the POV, the point of view or the helmet cam, makes it really hard to really understand what's going on. You don't have any context to the situation. And for me, I'm not watching where you're going. I'm watching what you're doing. So I personally like to see like that selfie stick or somebody filming you. Those are like my priorities. And then, but if you have like you're going like crazy tricks or the gnarliest rail, like if you or the gnarliest rail or the gnarliest tree run, then yeah, POV is awesome. But I like the selfie cam a little bit better because I want to see what you're doing. You're the snowboarder, you're the dude ripping it up. I want to see that. I don't necessarily want to just watch. Most of the times, I don't want to watch just turns. I like watching you ride. So I like the selfie thing more, like selfie cam style. Hope that helps, my dude. And then ED says, D Ed, any tips for flat ground threes? Yeah, three things. You're going to have to wind up and throw so freaking hard. You have to be able to pop so freaking hard. And the third thing is you got to make sure your eyes are looking in the direction you're going so that you're getting that full rotation, that everything's working together. But that's definitely like something that you got to do. Buddy Winters, what up, dog? He says, smash that like button. I appreciate that, man. That's super sick. We got Max Duffy in the house. Max Duffy is one of my athletes. He's pretty awesome. He's been ripping it up this season. He says, yo, what type of music do you listen to? And then he also says, I bet you would listen to Eminem low key or high key, whatever you want to say. I'm the biggest Eminem fan ever. I literally just don't listen to anything else except for maybe the people that are associated with him, like Royce the 5'9" or like his little buddies, that little rap group, the little people he hangs out with. That's pretty much all I listen to. I'm pretty one dimensional. So good question for sure. Eminem just dropped an album. Yep, sick. And then Napton, sorry, Buddy Winter says Napton working on ABCs of snowboarding, question mark. Ooh, maybe we'll never know. Or I mean, we may know if it's popping out tomorrow or something. Okay, so then Chilled 16 says I don't get to snowboard that much, only on weekends because I have hockey in school. What are some ways I can practice rails off snow? I got a couple ideas for you. If any of you guys are trying to get better and you're not able to actually snowboard a whole bunch, I do recommend you get a tire. Like get an old tire. You can find one at an old shop or somebody's trying to throw one away. Get a tire and then get your snowboard and jump on that tire. Why that's sick is you have a tire that has a big base, and so that you can get used to landing in board sides. You can start shifting your weight and start just jibbing. You can do front one on, front one out, front 270 on. Maybe it's 50-50 on, stay there, balance 270 out or 360 out. Like there's so many different combinations you can do. Then you can also do like, can you jump over it? Can you do back flips? So that's like one thing that's really awesome. I would recommend like the more you can jib. And then I posted a video of like front board prets I don't know, like a week ago. And I did it on a foam roller, essentially like a foam roller, and then you're able to start balancing and rocking this thing back and forth. So make sure you get like an appropriate foam roller that's not super slick. But if you get a foam roller, what's sick about that is that you're able to, it's going to be challenging because it wants to move, so you have to make sure your body position is super on point, which when you're on a rail, if you have a rail that's like rounded like this, if you're not perfectly on it, you're falling off. So it actually helps translate to becoming better at rails if you have an unstable platform underneath your feet, but be cautious, please. Okay, so Buck says, I need help with not stalling out mid threes. So essentially, when you do that, a lot of times it could be that your shoulders rotate fast and then they stop, and then your body catches up, and then your shoulders, so like kind of doing one of those movements. I would definitely say that you want to, I would definitely say you want to be able to throw it and then tighten your core. Imagine somebody's going to punch you in the stomach. Well, if you're going to get punched in the stomach, you're going to brace for it. And if you brace for it super hard, then you're going to be able to engage your core. That's how I like tell people to engage their core. So as you do that, throw your 360, engage your core, rotate as one. That should help a lot. And then we just got a $5. Yeah, let's go. Ting you. I appreciate, holy cow, $5 dono. She didn't ask a question, but I think she asked one after that. So, hey, Tommy, when I was doing downward unweighted edge changes on a steep slope, I always feel my weight is on the rear leg or rear on toe side. I was wondering if there's any way to fix that. So I'm going to have to process this, visualize this real quick for you. So you're doing so essentially a down and weighted movement. There's two different kinds of movements for everyone that's in the chat. There's an up and weighted movement. So here's a good example. I want this thing to become weightless. If I can do this properly, I want this to become weightless. Now, if I drop down this, essentially, I drop down fast enough, it becomes weightless, and then we'll touch the ground. Now, I can also do an up and weighted, which means I push this thing up, it's gonna get in the air and then come back down. So it gets really nerdy. This is like some like instructor style like turns, just so you guys are all like on the same page. Up and weighted is jumping up, down and weighted is jumping down really quick, trying to unweight your board. Now, essentially, when you're making a turn, you're actually unweighting your board. So intuitively, you're standing up, unweighting it, standing, and then sinking back down. So kind of dope. But okay, so the question is, I feel like my weight is on the rear as I do a down and weighted movement. So I would think about, are you doing an early edge engage, like are you engaging the front of your board early to be able to get that weight on front and to be able to do that? So are you starting your turn with your front knee steering? Are you starting your turn more of a pivot movement? Will you answer that in the chat just so I can get as much information as possible? So I can get more. But with what you have so far, I would definitely say make sure your weight is over your lead foot by shifting your belly button and doing early edge engagement with your lead foot, trying to get that around. So you're like, boom. That's definitely what I would recommend. And then you got Josh, dude. What up, Josh? So Josh is super awesome. He has a YouTube channel, Eckhart. Definitely pronouncing that wrong. He just popped up in the chat. He says, "Yo, Tommy, it was sick seeing you today." So I ended up actually doing kind of a well, not kind of, I did a guest appearance in one of his videos, which will be coming out pretty soon. It's like 10 tips on what you should bring on a cold day. And my tip kind of threw him off because it's a good tip, but it's not what he was thinking. So I like to bring my own little thought process into that. So if you guys want to go check out his stuff, definitely do that. And then I kind of skipped it down a little bit. So I'm going to go back up and answer some questions. If I miss your question, just pop them down below, and I'm going to try to get to as many of them as possible. There's like 50 of you guys out here. This is incredible. Okay. Don't want to miss too many of these questions. Max Duffy says, do you like Eminem? Yeah. Okay, any tips on switch toe side turns? I actually have two things on switch, George. Two things on switch toe side turns. I have a switch video that is a while ago in the archive of things. I have a switch video which I talk about knee steering. Essentially what you want to do, if this is my foot, this is my knee, as you want to engage or initiate your toe side turn, you actually take your knee and you squish the front of your boot. And what that does is it gets your front of your board to create the turn. Now, as you do that movement, you got to be leaning in the direction that you're going. So I need to be leaning over my toes. So I would check out that switch video, but knee steering is going to be a game changer. In addition to that, on Friday, I'm dropping the ultimate guide on how to do turns. Now, I would love for you guys to go scope that out, as well as share it with a friend. Maybe a homie doesn't know how to snowboard. Maybe you want to learn how to ride switch. Well, you can take the tactics from this turning video and then apply it to actually doing turns, whether it's switch, whether it's regular. And I talk about different styles of turns, where to apply them, how to do them. And it gets really, I break it down super simple so that you guys can like share it to a friend who's never snowboarded. And that's the thought, is like, what if we got more people to go snowboard? Like, that would be sick. That means I have more people to hang out with and more friends to go ride with. So selfishly, it's getting more people in the industry. So if you guys could help share that, that would be so sick. Switch is hard, but that video is definitely going to help a lot. And then, okay, boom, boom. Josh Snowboard says, any tips on drops? Would love to look cool in the air. Actually, Josh, I saw your Instagram post, dude. That was sick. So when you're doing drops, I like to think about popping just a little bit off of a cliff drop. What that's going to do is that it makes you intentional about what you're going to do in the air. So as I push off, then bring your knees up, retract your knees, and grab your snowboard. If you can grab your snowboard, it's going to look good for photos, for videos, for Instagram. And then it puts you in a nice compact and like balanced position, and you're not flailing around. And then also, as you are riding away, make sure your knees are out, you're nice and strong, and anticipate that. But I would definitely say, like, grab your snowboard and pop off of it. Okay. Anybody going to Breck tomorrow? I don't know if I'm going to be there. Johnix game, yo, everyone out at Breck tomorrow, hit me up on Instagram to go ride. Chilla with the at. Yeah, hit him up, go ride. I think I'm going to be at Breck tomorrow too, by the way. William says, how to overcome the fear of large rails? I can hit medium like rails fine, speed, technique, and balance, but I just get sketched out on bigger rails. So I would definitely work on your ollie. So if you have a super high rail, I would work on your ollie and making sure that you're able to pop up there. And something that I do all the time is that if I can get my belly button about 2 feet above the rail, then I know I can make it, because all I got to do is bring my knees up to the rail. So I'm going to jump as hard as I can and then bring my knees up so that I land on top of the feature. But what you can do is like kind of hit the side of it. But sorry, I'm just kind of getting a little distracted. But hitting the side of it, and then how high are you going? Have a friend see if you're able to like actually clear and make it up there. Because if you're not being able to get up there, obviously that's pretty scary. But I would just try to find as many different rails as possible, or go to different resorts. Because maybe you go to a different resort and you find that there's a rail that you hit there that's similar to the one at home, but this one's easier, and then you can bring it back there. And then also another thing is go ride with people that can do that kind of stuff, and then if they're already doing it, then you want to go essentially like follow them, or see what they're doing for sure. To answer a question back down here real quick, says, I feel that I probably did that toe side unweighted, more like a pivot movement. Yeah, I would like to see if you could, and send me a video if you want. I would love to see you like being able to get that early engagement and see how that goes for sure. Stefan, holy cow, with a $5. Having trouble getting my back foot up and around on those no nose roll 180s. Any tips on how to initiate and follow through on this? So I definitely recommend, yeah, you can wind up your, and I'm assuming you're going front side. You can wind up with your lead shoulder, but it's going to be really important that you're driving your back shoulder and finishing that 180 with your back shoulder, which is pretty incredible. So you got to be able to drive that shoulder and then let the rest of your body follow. And what's cool about that is as you're throwing this, get your belly button to lean over that lead binding or wherever you want your board to like flex, and then be able to pop for sure, or like not pop, but like roll that. As you're doing that, another thing that you can do is retract your lead knee so that you can like add a little bit more flex to that. But a lot of that is going to be about that back shoulder doing that 180. That's definitely one. Buck Blades with a $6.70 dono, which is pretty funny. LOL. I keep stalling out halfway through the threes. Also, I turn too much before the jump. Don't get enough pop. I DM'd you videos. All right, dude. I'm gonna go back through. I'm gonna search up your name. I'm gonna go look for that DM. I'm a little bit behind on the DM, so my bad on that one. But I'll go look at that. But I did answer that question about keeping your core super tight, and imagine you're getting punched in the stomach, so you want to make sure your core is super tight. And then if you're going early, a lot of times what happens is your lead shoulder is, as you're going into the jump, you're winding up way too soon. Imagine you're like playing baseball. If I'm just sitting out here and then all of a sudden the ball's coming, or no, let's say this, like I wind up and I'm ready and then I swing and then the pitcher throws. Obviously my timing is completely off. I'm not going to maximize that. So what I would like you to do is think about being more patient when you're throwing that shoulder. If you're throwing it super early, then the rest of your body follows early. So you got to be super uh then super like patient with that. And a lot of my frontside videos, I'm trying to think, I posted a backside 360 on my Instagram today, which can still apply. I throw like super late so that I maximize trajectory and then get the turn in for sure. But for sure. So hope that helped. But I'm gonna go scope out that DM after this. I'm gonna take notes. Okay, dope. There's a lot of you guys in here. I appreciate all the support, guys. Okay, I'm gonna try to make sure we're getting some. Okay, getting some more questions going. Questions. Okay, Zachary says, saw you doing your frontside or your 360 video right after I snapped my board a few days ago learning tame dogs. Holy cow. Uh, yeah, I don't know about Capita and the material that they use as far as the durability on it. I personally go through between 2 and 3 boards a season because I ride hard, I ride a lot, and I ride hard and I ride a lot for sure. So I would say like as as much as you can just save up in the summer and do that, then like that's going to be where you're going to benefit the most, is like just trying to like save up as much cash as you can. Maybe you can become friends with the local shop and just become friends with them. Maybe they can give you like 10-20% discount. Obviously you don't want to just go in and be like, give me a discount, but like what can you offer them? Can you get them stoked on you? Can you like create a relationship where they could give you 20% off on a board? And that could definitely help. But make sure you're bringing value to them, then wanting something in return. If you just want something and it's all about you, they're going to be put off by that for sure. For sure. But sorry about your board, dude. Zach, that sucks, my dude. Charlie Green says, "Hey Tommy, some friends and I are going out to Colorado at the end of February and have planned a steamboat / aviation trip. Are there any of the epic passes that would be worth most checking out? Be most worth checking out. Honestly, if you have an Epic Pass, I would definitely recommend Vail because it's massive and it is super fun. Keystone can be super fun as well. Just be aware of Yellow Jackets. Don't go fast. Just don't deal with it. And then Keystone. But if you can go to Vail, Vail's amazing. It's huge. It's super sick. And then Melissa with the board slide. Wait, what? With a $20 mountain pizza fund. Dude, that's sick. So me and Johnathan, I'm like his father sometimes. I actually go pay for his pizza because he loves pizza. He eats like 6 pizzas a day. So I end up like hooking him up a little bit, paying for the pizza. So Melissa is now that's so sick. I appreciate you coming in with a $20 for pizza. It's so sick. I'm so hyped on your board slide too. Did you get any video of it? Please say you got video because that would be dope. Okay, so can you make a video about front slide board slides, please? So like front side board slides, I need to make a video on them. That's a good idea. Thank you. I'm gonna write that down as well because I do have a backside board slide. I just don't have a front board how-to video. So love that idea for sure. And then what else we got in here? Ice Keys. Another question. I want to become a good snowboarder. I want to go into the park and learn tricks and become better, but I don't know exactly what I should be working on first. Okay, actually, this is something that I probably have not really talked to you guys about. I do have a whole trick list that I recommend that you guys start. And this goes from like, okay, how should I learn 180s then 720, or should I learn frontside, backside? Like I have a whole chart that you guys can download and you can keep on your phone. You can screenshot it, whatever you need to do, you can do that. So if you guys want that, it's a free PDF download that gives you the breakdown of what tricks I recommend that you should be learning in kind of what order. So if you guys want that, DM me on Instagram and I'll just send you the link. I have not put it on the YouTube description. I don't know why. I just forgot about it. But that's another thing that I can definitely do. I definitely want to do. I definitely want to do that. So hit me up on that. But as far as what you should do, also I have a YouTube video on, I forget what I titled it, but it's like first time going into the park / park etiquette. If you watch that YouTube video, I talk about ollies, nollies, tail presses, and then how to use those on rails, and then how to use that same thought process on jumps. So if that's something that you have not seen, go scope that out because that's definitely will be super sick for you to scope out. So I do have quite a bit of resources for you as well. For sure, my dudes. Okay, so a whole bunch of you guys in here. I got a lot of questions. I love this. You guys are so sick. Did we get... Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a little lost out here. So, yeah, if you want that PDF, DM me, and I'll be able to get that to you. I've been really struggling to keep up with the DM since Jack got hurt. Just got so much going on, and that's why I'm trying to encourage people to go to this live chat for questions because I can just, like, answer as many as I can in a very short amount of time, which has been super helpful. So if I'm not answering your DMs, I apologize. Sorry, I just am super overwhelmed right now, but this is a great place to be. But you're already here, so that's why we're here, right? We already here. All right, so I'm just scrolling around trying to find where I was because there's a lot of questions out here because you guys are sick. Elias, what do you think of linerless snowboard boots? I don't know. I've never tried them. I definitely don't want to bag on it or rag on it right out of the gate, not knowing them. So I'd have to go try that for sure. So don't have a real answer for you. I'm sorry. Okay, good. Okay, Dane says, do you like the snow? Like game of snow? Dude, I really want to do a game of snow. That sounds so fun. A couple people are saying that, like Chilled16 says he has a dual boas. Boas are sick. What kind of music do you guys listen to when you ride? I literally was struggling so hard before this Eminem album came out. And then I was like, you know what? I was just kind of like getting over music. I was like, just the hard thing with music is I don't want to listen to what I already know because I'm bored of it. But then the amount of time to invest in an album, to know if it's good, to know it, and to actually enjoy it takes so much energy that I was like, I'm just stopped listening to music while I'm writing because it took too much bandwidth of my time, which was so funny. So Golem says, where are you gonna be during spring break? I have no idea. March, I'll probably be here in Colorado. February, I might be traveling a little bit. Not quite sure yet, but I'm gonna be traveling around, not a lot. So hopefully just in Colorado. Colorado's amazing. Brad says, I have a 162. My 162 works better when I was closer to 200 pounds. Now that I'm down to 150, congratulations. Hopefully that's what you wanted, because that's sick. I am definitely in the market for a shorter board. My 154 is detuned and both are old. So I like like I said a little bit earlier, I like the Tellus Chillin board. I've been super hyped on it. It's a camber board, but definitely when you're like a 162 board, the thing is when you have the weight behind it, you can power that big board. Now that you have less weight to power that board to get it to flex, it's going to have a like different response to it for sure. So it's kind of a good problem to have. Like, I'm proud of you. So I like camber boards. Like a 154 is probably a good size, but I like the Chillum. It's been a really sick board. Okay. Jason Sen says Aero was on the guided tour last February. Are you talking about the pro snowboarder who's a god? I follow that dude on Instagram. He's amazing. Okay. And William's been kind of copy and pasting a couple questions. I did answer that. I just want to make sure that you know that I answered that, my dude. And I appreciate you like adding that so that I don't miss it. That's sick. Edgar says we were boarding buddies, man. The Red Burton descendant. I still shred and love that deck. Saw you on Instagram one day with that board and it caught my attention a little. Didn't know if you were still shredding. Okay, so yeah, essentially I'm still shredding with Buckhouse. I don't have much time to shred, like free shred anymore, because just, things have gotten a little bit more hectic recently. I'm still shredding with Buckhouse maybe like one time a week. And that was the goal from the beginning, is if I could ride with him 1 to 2 times a week, then we're killing it. For a while there, I was riding with him like 4 or 5 days a week. It was pretty awesome, and I definitely enjoy that, but I'm also really hyped on coaching and love what I'm doing in the coaching world, and things are just popping off, which has been really cool. So not getting as much time with him, but that's totally okay. And but still riding him. Descendant, I've been riding that. I actually kind of struggled with that board. I just didn't feel like I had a lot of life or a lot of pop, so I ended up going to the process and then enjoyed the process, went to the custom, enjoyed the custom, and then went to the Tellus, Chillum, enjoying that board. It's freaking sick. And then Board Through the Pain, we're talking about going to Japan on 2025. I might be there with you, dude. That would be sick. I want to go. I want to go to Japan for sure. Okay, so we got Lucky X7. As a beginner, what is the best way to slow down when going down the mountain? Actually, on Friday, I'm dropping a sick video that discusses all of that stuff, which is super dope. And then what I would say is that you want to make sure your board is going across the fall line, that you're leaning back specifically on your heels. You're leaning back, leaning against the mountain, and then you're lifting up your toes. As you create more of a tilt, you're creating more friction, more resistance on the snow, and then you're going to be able to slow down faster. So that's a big deal for sure. And I'm going to drop a video, really nerdy video. Hope you guys enjoy that one for sure. Getting through these questions, my dudes. Tyler says, what's the best way to learn to ride switch? I do have a YouTube video on riding switch, but the number one thing you got to do is knee steering, which is going to be able to allow you to put your body in the right position to commit to the turn. If you're trying to do a toe side turn and you're not committed to actually leaning on that toe side turn, then it's going to be really challenging, really scary. It's not going to be awesome. So if you're able to actually commit to that turn with knee steering, and that's going to help a lot. I do have a YouTube video that's coming out about turning, and then I have a how to ride switch video, but that's a big deal. I would make sure you're doing knee steering. If you have not heard of that, definitely go scope out that video. It's definitely a good resource, but you want to essentially have 60% of your weight on your lead foot. You want to take your knee and you want to squish it over your toe and get the front of your board to start creating the turn, and that's going to help a lot. And then after that, practice as much as possible. When I was younger, and I've done this with athletes, I'll make them ride the whole entire day switch. When we go to New Zealand or something and we're in the summer, it's like, hey, let's use days of just riding switch, and it definitely helps out a lot. Snoka says, I was snowboarding and then all of a sudden I started to go really slow. Is there snow or my board need to be waxed? I just got my board and it's practically new. All right, so a couple thoughts is sometimes if you're riding rails and the rails are wet, this happens to me, the rails are wet, essentially you're splashing water onto the board, and then as you hit the snow, it could have a rapid freeze, and then all of a sudden you have this like ice on your board. So that may or may not be the case for you. After that, you could wax your board, but it shouldn't be so dramatic. I wonder if there's a scratch or a dent. Have you checked the bottom of your board? There's a scratch or there's a dent underneath, then I would definitely scope that out. But your board progressively should get slower when you're not waxed. So I'm not exactly sure what that is. I haven't experienced that. And was it just continuously slow, or was it in certain sections of the mountain? Because there it could be high temperature changes that will affect your wax that could cause that. So definitely a couple thoughts there. Okay, board through the pain. He's my hero too. I think we're talking about Napton. Okay, we got Lucky Seven. Answer that question. Krista Van Awesome said Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse for sure, which is another like rap group that like that Eminem like kind of like put together, kind of gangster. Kind of cool, kind of cool. Okay, do you look back uphill when you do frontside 360s to stop the rotation, or do you look under your armpit to spot the landing? I noticed most pros look downhill, but Snowboard Addiction teaches you to spot the landing. There's a couple different tactics, so it depends. Sorry, I hear screaming, and I'm worried about who's screaming. So essentially, there's a couple different tactics, and it depends on which edge you're landing on. Now, if you're landing on a hillside edge off of a 360, you have a higher probability of skidding your board around to 450. So then with that, you're going to want to look slightly back uphill so that your shoulders don't keep going. If I land on my hillside edge and then I let my shoulders go, then my whole body is going to keep going. So then you're going to have to counter that by looking back uphill so that your shoulders are slowing down. They're able to land and you're not just doing that. So that's kind of like, that's the first thought. Now, what I like to do is I will look and spot my landing just underneath my feet. And then immediately as I land, I look where I'm going, but I'm landing on a toe side edge. So a couple video, maybe like 2.5 weeks ago, I have an Instagram post of me doing a 360 out of a quarter pipe and like kind of a big gap and then landing. Well, with that, I had to really chuck this 360, but I landed on my toes and then I was able to ride away. That's also the tactic that I use when it comes to doing frontside 360s in the moguls, because I want to be able to spin and then stop the rotation as soon as possible so I can handle what's after it. So a couple food for thoughts on that. Hope I answered that question. The Bird 135. This is my first season snowboarding. Is it true that you learn on the East Coast that you can snowboard anywhere? Yeah, essentially in the on the East Coast, it's so firm and so icy. They have to be so specific about your movements and your edge control, and you have to be able to be like super balanced. Now in Colorado, we're super lucky that we have softer snow. We have to be less precise about our movements. We can get away with a little bit more like bad form sometimes because it's soft, and not just because we fall in it soft, but that my board sinks into the snow more, so I'm able to get better grip, and I'm not a better grip, and I have a better ability to balance. So then I can cheat because I can be in kind of an off balance position, but my board is stuck to the ground a little bit easier. Now, when you're in the East Coast, your board, you have less room for error. So if you can handle East Coast stuff, you come out to Colorado, you're gonna feel like a rock star. Now, as a disadvantage, when I grew up in Colorado and I go to the East Coast, I struggle less now so than ever, but I would struggle because I just don't. You have to be so precise with it. I'd go compete out there and be like just getting bodied. So it's definitely it can be an advantage if you're learning that stuff and then you bring it back over. Hope that helps, my dude. Okay, Ice Keys says, any tips on how to overcome fear and trying new tricks to become a better rider? I think being able to understand what the progressive steps are to that trick, my thought process for my athletes that I work with is there is a time where there's tricks that are scary, for sure. But can I bridge that gap instead of doing, a 180 to a 720? I need to bridge that gap to a 180, 360, 540, and then do 540 on a bigger jump, a smaller jump. Because if I do it on a bigger jump, I'm going to be used to doing a 540 with more hang time. Now, if I do a 540 on a smaller jump, I have to throw it faster, which teaches me how to spin faster. Now we can take those two elements of a small jump and a big jump, and now I can apply that to a 720. Essentially, I've taught these skills of what it's like to feel like you're in the air for a long time while throwing it harder. So can you bridge that gap? And then there is a point where you're going to have to do it. But if you have the confidence and you have, more importantly, the skills setting you up for success, you're going to have a better chance of being successful because you have the skills. So I would definitely do that. Andrew, what up, dog? I totally borrowed your front three progression today in a milk run clinic. I charge him $1,000 for that. Just kidding. And then he says flat spin, front three, front one, flat spin to finish, air front three. So essentially he's saying that I did this on my back three video the other day, is can you do a flat ground 360 just to get used to like body position. And then what you do is you do a 180 and then you skirt around the next 180. Then you can go 270 and skirt it around and then you complete the 360. Again, progressive thought process. Can I break a 360 into 5-10 steps? Then I have a better chance of learning that 360 because I'm learning the skills to build up to get there. Dude, Andrew, that's sick though. And I saw, Andrew, you DM'd me a bunch of stuff. I will check that when I'm here, after this for sure. Drayden says, when riding switch, I have a problem landing switch and having my back leg absorb the impact. Any tips? Feels like my back leg switch is weaker. I would say when you're landing switch, you want to be in a body position where your belly button is in the center of your board, and that you're getting your weight distributed between both feet as equally as possible. When you're riding switch, you may just be leaning back where all of your weight is distributed on one foot, and that you're not leaning like here. Essentially, if I was leaning in this chair all day, like this whole side of my body is going to get super tired. But if I'm in the center, I'm distributing it a little bit better. Eventually I'll get, tired or whatnot, but I'm distributing that pressure a lot bit better. A lot better. Sometimes English is so hard for me. It's actually so funny. Morning, Tommy from Europe. What up, Julius? Jewel Lee. That's sick. Dude, Europe is sick. Hope it's snowing a bunch out there. Colorado's not getting a lot of snow, but it makes for good park days, so not complaining here. Chance says, do you have any tips for the box and piece park that is 1/4 of a circle, and how do you ride it? Tips for the box that is 1/4 circle. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but I would assume it's probably a body position thing. Make sure your lead shoulder at the end of the rail and that your belly button is stacked directly on top of the rail. That's going to be a big deal, because if you're like super leaning back, super leaning forward, if you're twisted, all that stuff is going to work against you for sure. Dimitri says, hi, Tommy. Sounds like I'm dyslexic. Tommy, hi. I'm not, though. I want to thank you for your videos and tips. It has really helped me. That's so sick. Yeah, sometimes I have no idea. I just put all this material out there and I just like hope it works. So I've been getting a lot of positive feedback for that stuff, like that you guys have been seeing a lot of improvements, and that's also what I'm hyped on. And then Andrew, my dude, says, also explored rapid toe-to-toe front ones down the fall line as I showed the crew where they can progress their toe-to-toes as they become more comfortable with riding. So Andrew is a trainer at Vail, and he has been leading some clinics, and he's going for this really cool exam coming up. So we wish him the best. But with that said, being able to challenge himself because people are watching him, which is super awesome. That's super dope. Trying to see. And then Andrew says he's going to send me some videos. Sick, dude. I'm definitely going to scope that out. Stefan says, awesome. So through the shoulders like McGregor. Dude, I didn't watch that fight the other night, but I hope it was a good one. All right, we scrolling through these. We're scrolling through these questions. This is sick. Let's see. L Stacker's Adventure says, what up, everyone? Cannonball that like button. And then it says, cannonball rail tip for spinning off. Cannon rails. Hey, cannon rail tips for spinning off. Yeah, essentially wind up a little bit earlier and let your lead shoulder start rotating in the direction that you want to go. And then, but keep your stomach soft so that as you're going on the rail, your lead shoulders are rotating like this, but your board is not being affected. You want that board to go straight. And then when you're ready to pop off, throw your shoulders a little bit harder, engage your core, and let your feet like match up to you. But I would do that. Also, try to go through the end of the rail. If you're falling off early, you minimize the time you have in the air. So you want to go off the rail so you can get as much time in the air, which makes it super sick. Kaz says, hey, Elliot, you're here. Not riding today? Question mark. I think it's L Stackers. Are you in? Somebody in the chat had said that you're in Japan right now. Are you kidding me? If you are, I'm jealous. And I think you said something about an admin. DM me on it. DM me on Instagram. We'll figure that out. Frankie says, accidentally hit my shin at the gym and headed to Colorado tomorrow. Dude. So when you're doing like, I totally know what you mean. Because when you like shin bang your shin on a box and you have like nothing there to protect your shin and you just get wrecked, it's not sick at all. Just a heads up, I'm going to go for 15 more minutes, guys. It is getting a little late and I'm going to go snowboard tomorrow. So we're going to do 15 minutes more. So if you guys got any last final questions, make sure you pop them in down below. And then we will be able to answer those questions and then we out of here. But yeah, dude, L Stecker's Yo, dog, I'm in Japan. Are you connecting with any of those other YouTuber dudes? I think actually I saw it on your story that you saw Casey. Was that in Japan? IDK, dude. I don't know, but that's sick, man. I'm glad you're in Japan. That's so sick. Oh, okay. Yeah, Frankie, sorry about that. Got a little distracted here. Any tips for padding your boots? That's a great question. If you could wrap your shin not extremely tight, because if you wrap your shin tight with like gauze or bandages, then you're just gonna apply pressure, and over hours that's gonna suck. In my experience, that's gonna suck. So if you could just kind of like get that like a little soft, and then if you could get like, is it turtle fur, or there's some kind of like soft like turtle fur or something that might be good. Maybe a sponge, like maybe a sponge. Like, is that weird? I mean, it probably is weird, but like, would a sponge actually be beneficial because it would absorb like the impact and that stuff? I don't know. I'm literally imagining what putting a like a like that in your boot. Like, it just sounds kind of funny, like a pink one or something. I don't know. That'd be crazy. Slip FN yo low, just broke my wrist again because of me not knowing front side board sides. So it would be great if you could make a video on it. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry about your wrist, man. Hopefully it's all good. Hopefully you don't have surgery. I ended up breaking my wrist and had surgery, many years ago, and it's still having issues. I still have problems with it, which is not fun. And then so yeah, we definitely need to make a front board video. That's a must for sure. All right, so if I miss any of your guys' question, make sure that you pop them in down below. Because I think we're caught up, dudes. I'm pretty sure we're caught up. I've answered a lot of the questions. Just want to make sure. Okay. Johnathan Buckhouse just texted me. He says, yo, dude, I'm in Telluride. I asked him, I was like, hey, dude, can I come over and get some clips? He's told me like 36,000 times that he's going out of town, but I just pretend that he doesn't tell me he's going out of town. And because I want to hang out with him, and then I'm like, yo, let's hang out. And then he's like, I can't. I'm like, why not? He's like, I told you. I'm like, yeah, but I just like, no. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Diaz says, do you have any recommendations? Where to go? It's not popping up on my stream here. Any recommendations for recovery? Oh yeah, see. Sorry about that, guys. I just refreshed my computer screen. There's a whole bunch of questions in here that was not showing up there before. I'm sorry about that. There we go. There we go. We're getting back in here. All right, I'm going to answer this. Any recovery routines that you have? Hot tub, foam rolling, cupping, lots of water, and stretching are a big deal, but I like to stretch my hamstrings as well as my quads a lot. I don't really stretch much anything else, but that's, yeah, that's funny. I don't know. Sometimes, okay, sometimes this YouTube stuff kind of like throws me off a little bit. What we're getting back in here. Zane says, video on how to hit kinked rails board slides. There's literally none, and I'm terrified to try because I dig my edge into the kink. Yeah, for sure. There's this perfect, like, think it's a flat, it's like flat down, flat down, flat down at copper. And it's not super aggressive, super gnarly, but it's one of those things where it like is really fun to board slide. So there's two thoughts on a board slide through the kink. You can essentially, as you're going down right before it, you can lift up your toes, or you can kind of push off the rail and try to skip the kink so that you're not getting your edge through the kink. You can actually hop through the kinks, and that's kind of the tactic that I use. Is I try to minimize the amount of pressure or weight that's on the edge, so you're gonna like kind of skip through that. So that's what I would do. But yeah, you're right. I need to make a video on that for sure. Zane, that's a good idea, my dude. Hopefully those tips help, though. Any tips on for goofy riders how to get better on boxes and ramp tricks? I would definitely say goofy rider, I would definitely say focus on your body position. I have a lot of YouTube videos that are very beginner. So next week I'm going to put out how to hit jumps for the first time type of YouTube video. This week I'm going to do turns. I've done a couple intro to like 5 beginner tips, 5 beginner tricks you got to learn. I've done an intro to park that I talk about body position a lot. But the biggest thing is understanding body positions and then being able to be super confident and comfortable in those. In boxes, you can try 50-50 to ollie off. You can try nose press. You can try as a tail press. You can do little baby board slides. There's a lot of little options there for sure. And then Digana 968. How's it, Tommy? Digging your videos, brother. Possible to PM you to find out about hiring you for a day for some instructions and if you do that kind of thing. So at the moment, I do not offer any private lessons for 2 reasons. One, I do not have any time. Unfortunately, I'm pretty backed and kind of just booked and backed up. Like I just have a lot. And the second thing is like I haven't really gotten approval by anybody to do that. And so I don't want to risk my coaching, my Instagram, any of that stuff by doing anything that I shouldn't be doing. So and I've denied hundreds of people. I just haven't done any because it's just I'm not in that position just yet, time wise or legally logistical wise. I'm just not there. So I definitely appreciate you reaching out. I definitely would love to do some, but just not in that position at this current time. So yeah, I get DMs all the time about it, and I wish I could help. It's just not there yet. Maybe in the future if I can figure something out like that, but I don't do anything. Sorry, my dude. I do have an online snowboard course. If you guys are looking for like information from me, that's like more than anything else I've put out. That's more in detail. That gets super nerdy. If you're looking for that, definitely there. It's in the description. If you guys are looking for something like that, so that would be definitely a good option if you can't hire me to ride with you personally. L Stacker says, okay, yeah, L Stackers. Let's talk on the gram a little bit later and see what we can do about that. Josh snowboards. Any tips on drops? We covered that earlier. Okay. Just so you know, Josh, I did cover that a little bit ago, actually probably a while ago. I'm not sure if you knew that. Oh, okay. He says he left for the shower and then you missed it. Whoops. Good thing like on YouTube you can go back, which is super sick. Austin B, yo. And then wait, did I see that? Oh, Aaron, what's up, dude? I got a what's up, homie? $1.99. I got a $2 dono from Aaron, dude. Aaron is so sick. I appreciate you, dude. You've been out here on these live streams, man. Dude's a legend. I appreciate it, dude. So sick. I'm gonna go for about 5-10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna roll. So just kind of BT dub. Stefan says, uh, advice on getting over fear of getting bodied with someone coming uphill from you. It messes with my focus for real. What do you mean by like coming uphill from you? So like somebody going this way or somebody going this way? What do you mean by that? But like the thing about like when sorry about that. So when it comes to like people, the biggest advice that I have for you guys is having like for Stefan is like having your head on a swivel. Like every time I do a toe side turn, I look uphill. As I do a heel side turn, I look over my lead shoulder. And I probably if like I feel like I look around all the time that people are probably thinking I'm crazy. Like I'll be on a catwalk and I'll be going like 10, 15 feet and I'll just like kind of like spaz out and look to see where that dude is. I want to be able to gauge like is that dude coming in fast, because I know that if I look here and they're X far away and I look again they're still that far away, then they're not catching up to me. But if they're gaining on me, then I know like I got to be aware of that, right? So I'll look and just kind of spaz out a little bit. But then so heel side turn, I'm looking for people. Toe side turn, I'm looking for people. As I'm jumping, I'm looking around. I'm in the air. Sometimes Johnathan will be filming me and I'll be in the air and it looks like I'm like looking at the camera like arrogantly, like, oh, look at me. It's like, am I gonna land on this dude? I want to know where he's at, because if I'm gonna land on him, I'm gonna try to do something in the air to not land on him. I actually jumped over Johnathan one time and he didn't follow directions at all. And I jumped over and I brought my knees up. And if I didn't do that, I would have like sliced his like the back of his neck with my board, like potentially, like actually though. So like I would definitely say making sure that you're just looking around. Okay, coming from behind. Yeah, so that's exactly. I'm glad I kind of was already stumbling upon that stuff, and is like understanding where people are at. Where are they? Where are they coming from? And then I look in the trees too. Like I'll be cruising down and I'll look in the trees and try to see if I see a bright color. Do I see any movement? Do I see anything? Because a lot of dudes that are coming out of the tree, they technically are supposed to, technically under like the responsibility code, as you're entering a run, you have to yield to oncoming traffic, which means if I'm on the main run and you shoot out from the trees and I run you over, you're in the wrong because you didn't yield to the traffic that was on the run. So, but people don't do that. People just like bomb out from the trees. So like always like working on your spatial awareness. Where is everybody in terms of location and how fast are they traveling? Which direction are they going? And that kind of thing. One of my biggest pet peeves ever is when I'm in front on a catwalk and then somebody like clicks their ski poles behind me as if I have to like look around and know where they are. It's their responsibility to know where I am, but at the same time, I need to know where they are. Like, but you trying to make all this noise, of course, I'm like gonna freak out. I'm like, what's that? I think you're gonna run me over like a train or something. I don't know. Tangents. All right. Aaron says, what up, dog? Okay, I let Skin Shop talk me into some Malavita bindings. I had mission and was going to buy cartels, but ended up buying, I think it was like Ski Shop, not Skin Shop. Just beat you up. Ended up buying Malavitas. I had cartels. This is my first Malavitas. Have you tried them? I had a friend that loves the Malavitas and I used them. I think they were the wrong size, but I wasn't super keen on them. But that was a long time ago. Those obviously it could have changed. But have you rode them yet, Aaron? I hope they're like uh Aaron just like kind of like chatted and he's like ski shop, not skin shop. Dumb phone. It's probably Siri, dude. Siri hates me, I swear. But I would try them and like have Aaron, have you tried them yet? Have you rode them or anything or not? I hope you have. I've heard good things about them. Obviously, they're very popular binding. They're just a different style. I hope you like them. I remember kind of not liking them. I just love my cartels, and I try something different, and it feels weird. I'm like, ugh, and I just go back to cartels. So hopefully, hopefully that helps. Oh, okay. So Aaron said he's gonna try them in Vermont next week. Jude, you may like them, but do you know what your return policy is? I'm not sure if that's an option. Maybe you can go ride them, go try them out, and then return them if you hate them. That's the last thing I want to hear is that you're not stoked on them. Obviously, you want to go have the sickest time ever. All right, guys, I'm going to finish up here with a couple more questions, and then I'm going to get out of here. Got a little bit of work to do. Got to edit some videos. Got some stuff coming out this week, so I want to make sure I get all that done. But I'm happy to be here with you guys at the same time, so I don't know what to do. Human says, how do you feel about the super pass like the Icon or Epic Pass? Also, thoughts on resort companies, Vail, etc., buying resorts out. I think, from my personal opinion, like just being a little selfish is if I can buy an Epic Pass and go to 20 resorts and I can go to Whistler for free, essentially free in terms of lift access, dude, I'm hyped on that. That means I can go explore a bunch of really cool places for really affordable. And it gets me actually out of the house to go somewhere new and go try something because it's not, I'm so like resistant to spending money in some things. Like I spent a lot of money on food and like camera equipment or computers and that kind of thing. But I'm not gonna go drop $100 on go buy it to go like ski some place that I bought. I've spent $1,400 on passes this year alone. So then it's hard for me to go to a new place that doesn't have that. I have to go buy a ticket for 150 bucks because then I'm like, I've already bought it. So having a big place like that allows me to go to really cool places. So I'm into it. And then Very Resorts actually buying resorts and stuff. If Very Resorts is buying them and improving them and making it more awesome, it's keeping it alive. They're bringing a lot of money into places that may not have a sick park, may not have facilities, may need an update. And hopefully they come in and put money to it to make it super awesome because that's what their job is they're trying to make money. So they're going to put a bunch of like facilities and a bunch of cool stuff into it so people want to go there. So I think it's sick, but obviously there's a lot of like core resorts and stuff that probably don't dig it, but it gives me opportunity to snowboard more and gives me opportunity to go to places and have really dope facilities. Then I kind of dig it. I know I'm probably going to piss off some people, but it is what it is. Okay. Michael, I understand any reason to visit the East Coast from the West Coast. Probably. There's probably some really incredible resorts, different styles of riding, different temperatures, different people, different experiences. I've heard like there was a like Casey Willax did a whole trip out there for with us boys for like 2, 3, 4 weeks. I don't even know, but he went out there because it's sick enough to go out there. It's just different. And going out there and just knowing it's gonna be an experience, dude, that sounds dope. And then you go back to the West Coast. It's just different, you know. It's cool, and maybe it keeps you humble. Maybe you learn a new trick. Maybe you meet somebody cool and become your best friend. So definitely, like, could be an awesome experience, for sure. And then with a $2 dono, what's up, dog? We got Coglio knows you're the only border I watched. Not riding Japan now. Dude, I appreciate that, man. And the $2 dono with the support coming in clutch. I'm about to end this chat, so you came in with the love, dude. I appreciate that a lot. That's sick, man. I want to go to Japan. If anybody wants to go to Japan with me, and I want to go. I might go to China, but it's not Japan. But I might go to China this year. Not really sure exactly. Be nice says revert cars having a hard time with edge pressure as I attempt them. Help. I do have an Instagram video of a revert carve that I can send you. So if you want to hit me up on the gram, and I'll be able to just link that video to you. Just let me know you came from YouTube. I will be prioritizing some of the YouTube, more prioritizing DMs from YouTube over anything else, just because like you guys are here committing a lot of time to me, and I want to make sure that I'm giving back to everybody. But I gotta like kind of like prioritize, you know what I mean? But I do have a video, but I would definitely say make sure that your belly button is sinking down, and then your belly button is leaning over to the hill, and then you're adding your toes in it so that you can do it for sure. Like add your toes or your ankles, so you can get a higher tilt, and it's all about tilt for sure. Aaron coming in with a I am down for Japan, dude. Yeah, dude, Japan would be so sick, so sick. So well, I'm gonna have to end it here, guys. There's a couple questions I haven't got to, but it is 8:30. We've been going for about an hour and a half. So my whole plan is to be able to do these on Tuesdays as long as life just doesn't come up for sure. But I definitely love doing these. And then I just want to say thank you to quite a few people for sure. Aaron, Aaron, will you resend copy and paste what you just sent? I accidentally hit it instead of showed it. So go ahead and like redo that real quick before I leave. And then Chris Van Paris saying, uh, great work, TB. Hey, I appreciate that, dude. You've been a big supporter of mine for a long time. I appreciate that. Kaz says you should come to Australia for your off-season Perisher. Oh, I've been to Perisher, by the way. I've been to Perisher, Falls Creek, Threadbowl, but not. There's another one that's across the way. I forgot what it's called. But I've been out there. I'm trying to convince and figure out how to get me and Johnathan down there. I want to do Australia, New Zealand, and a couple others. So if you guys have any tips or any hookups on places to stay, I would definitely be super hyped on that. I don't. There we go. Thanks, Aaron. Sorry about that, my dude. It's Yep, perfect, cool. There you go. But if you guys got hookups on down south, that'd be incredible to go. Isaac, sorry man, you just caught the end, but you can rewatch the whole thing if you want. I'm gonna be doing these on Tuesdays as long as life doesn't happen. So I appreciate it, guys. Aaron, and we got Isaac out here, Kaz, Krista, we got Coglio, got a bunch of guys out here supporting the cause. We got Melissa in here. We got Aaron with the donos, Stefan with the donos. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys have been super incredible tonight. Buck getting some answers, some questions answered. So I do have some really cool things happening on this Friday. I have a sick video coming out on how to turn. So if you could share that with a friend, that'd be super dope. I have some posts on Instagram every single day at 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. I do have an online snowboard course, link in the bio. I have some killing it stickers, and I have hoodies and merch that are all linked in the bio. So if you guys want to cop any of that stuff, and then if you share it with me on Instagram, and I'll put you on my story, which I've been super hyped on to like share the love as you guys are supporting the channel. And then you guys are amazing. I am gonna end it here. Thank you everybody for coming out, and you're amazing. And again, as always, my favorite part is trying to figure out how to like end this chat. So like I press this button, and then like I press this other button, but then it takes like 12,000 hours to like figure out if it's gonna end or not. So on that note, we're out of here, I think.